Christ. Today we step into the first Sunday of Lent. Pope Francis, before being admitted to the hospital, gave the message of Lent, and in this he has mentioned, life is a journey. When we go on a journey, we need to rest to collect our strength. And life is a journey, and he says that it's a constant examination and transformation. And Lent is a beautiful time for that, to reflect, to transform, and to embrace the realities of life. Let the season of Lent make us pray more, sacrifice more, and give more. Whenever we think of the season of Lent, we focus on giving up something. Giving up maybe alcohol, giving up food. It's always giving up the focus. And this Lent, I invite you to focus on taking up. Taking up, maybe going for regularly for the Mass. Going regularly, saying the Rosary regularly. So it is, let's focus on taking up. And today's Gospel from Luke 4, 1 to 13 invites us to be who we are and what we are amidst our sufferings, difficulties, brokenness, misunderstandings, and temptations in life. In today's Gospel, we see that Jesus is tested and tempted by the devil. Jesus faces three kinds of temptations: physical, emotional, and psychological. I would like to reflect with you on these three kinds of temptation with three symbols or objects that are closely connected with each of these temptations. The first, the object is an apple. And we all of us know an apple that satisfies our hunger. And this represents the physical temptation as well. And when we see this, our mind goes back to our first parents, Adam and Eve, the original sin. We read that Jesus said nothing for 40 days and he was physically weak. The devil knew Jesus' physical condition very well and tempted him to change the stones into bread. This is an example of physical temptation which involves the hunger. Jesus, filled with the Holy Spirit, is self-restrained and obedient to God's will and fought against this physical temptation. When we examine our own life, we are tempted by bodily pleasure, gluttony, or laziness. All these are physical temptations. We find it difficult to fight against this. At times, these pleasures hide us from seeking God's will. As St. John says, we are not free when we are a slave to our body. Let us ask for the grace and strength today to fight against this physical temptation. Second, a mask. A mask that represents the emotional temptation. Most of the time, we hide our emotions wearing a lot of masks. After the first attempt, the devil shows all the kingdoms of the earth and makes promise to Jesus. To you I will give their glory and all this authority. I can to whomever I please. If you worship me, all these are yours. This is a false promise and emotionally tempting Jesus to wear a mask, to wear the mask of pride and the mask of power. Most of the times in our life as well, we're emotionally tempted by our own friends, relatives, and others who make us emotionally happy but pull us away from God's will. We are often forced to wear the mask to please those around us and run after fake success and momentary pleasure. Today we are invited to stand strong in our emotional temptations and to seek God in our life and to discern God's will in our life, following Jesus. Most often our human emotions make us weak. It starts with little compromises in life. For example, going for a hurling match, then attending the Sunday Mass. It could be very simple, but that makes us emotionally happy for a moment. And Jesus would have given up in that moment. That would have made him emotionally happy, saying that I am bigger than you. But Jesus did not give him, and he didn't lose himself. And that's the message we always say. Let's not give in to small temptation that leads us to losing ourselves at one point completely. And St. Augustine of Hippo once said, it is better to deny entrance to a temptation than to fight it with it after it has entered it. So prevention is better than the cure always. And the third object I have is the broken mirror. The broken mirror represents psychological temptation that predominantly makes us doubt ourselves and our abilities. If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down from here, was the third temptation of the devil to Jesus. Jesus for a moment is tempted to doubt and test his own self. But Jesus replies, not to put the Lord our God to test. In our daily life as well, we are tempted to doubt ourselves, our ability, our friendship, and our relationship with God himself. The mirror reflects what you show. The same way our life is shaped by our psychological strength. Following Jesus, who had a strong trust and relationship with God, and he knew himself who he was, acted courageously and does not give in to the devil's temptation. The again St. Augustine of Hippo reminds us, our mind is like a garden and it must be cared for. Let it not be overrun by thorns of doubt, but instead be cultivated with the seeds of virtue and faith. And as I conclude, I would like to remind again the three symbols: the apple that represents the physical temptation, and the mask that represents the emotional temptation, and the broken mirror that represents the psychological temptations. And in the end of the Gospel, we see the devil departed from him until the opportune time. So this reminds us these temptations are constant in our life. As Teresa of Avila once prayed, Lord, I do not ask you to take away my cross, but only give me the strength to bear it. Let these be